I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lori, that's a roll call.
Sure. Michael.
Here.
Sandy.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
Ken.
Here.
Lori here.
Agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No, I move we can approve the agenda from the last meeting. Second.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
We gotta vote on it first.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now you.
Then a
say-
motion to approve
There you go.
the agenda as amended.
Aye.
Okay. Consent agenda. Okay, so we need approval of the regular board meeting minutes for November 7th. We didn't have anything to do with this meeting.
Let me
So
ask,
do we
I see
have-
Vi is in the audience. Vi, since we had nothing to do with the meeting on the 7th of November, do we do anything? We don't have any corrections for it since we weren't a part of it, correct?
But it's still gotta be approved.
Right, we approve it as is, but we
Yeah.
don't have to,
No.
we don't have the responsibility of changing it. Okay.
And then approval for the special meeting minutes. Is there any changes?
No. I approve that, I move that we approve the minutes for both of those. The one that we weren't part of and the one on November 27th.
Okay, what we do with the consent agenda is we wait until we get through all of the consent agenda items, until we get down to here, and then we do one motion to approve all of those, or accept all of those.
All right.
That makes it quicker, instead of going a motion for everything.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it goes quick.
Okay.
That's
So if there's no, changes to
Changes
the
to-
minutes
good. Minutes.
for the special meeting on November 27th. Correct.
And then approval of accounts payable and payroll.
All right, no, we need to go through each one. So accounts payable is under the clerk's report, and then we have the treasurer's report. So Sandy, if you want to give your report, and then I'll give mine. At this point, pretty much what we're giving is just the totals in these, for whatever I paid out during the month, or what was paid out during the month of November, is what you get from the clerk, and what is in our accounts is what you get from the treasurer. So go ahead, Sandy.
Okay, so we have our general accounts, and the market fees, total of $1,073,858.18. Right, right? So I need to do it.
I don't know whether, until we get to the point where we know what we're doing and we know what's where and move along easier. Okay, under the clerk's report, we have checks written during the month of November. A total of 36 checks were written for the amount of $116,775.93. That was for accounts payable. And for payroll, for the month of November, we had a total of gross check amount $18,625.56, with a total of 25 checks written. Any questions on those?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Are you guys ready to move to education requests? The MTA new officials training part 1 for all the board members. Asking for permission to attend that in Frankenmuth on December 20th.
You'll find
other
that
board
under the
members that
agenda
are
tab.
interested.
That's under the agenda tab.
It's E6A.
Actually, 6A on mine appears to be the fire department, but I know where you're talking about the new business.
I'm sorry, Michael, I can't hear you.
The,
Are you looking under the agenda?
Right.
That. We're
Oh,
talking about
right.
approval
Yes.
to go to that.
yes,
Okay. And then the clerk's, approval for the clerk to attend the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks.
Who knows the attend the payroll.net user group meeting. The other is the dues for the meeting. And payroll is one of the statutory duties of the clerk, so that is something I have to do anyway.
Right, and the dues is what you have to pay. How much is what?
The payroll class is free. It would just be mileage to get there, and it's in Bath, Michigan. The class itself is free, I just need to get there. So all I'm asking for is mileage. And the class for the MTA is $125 per person. $129.
149.
Maybe 149.
Yeah. 149. Okay. Any questions on those?
yeah, there was one, I noticed that the trustee and supervisor are down for basic rather than essential. It kind of seemed like in the brochure that there were some good things for essential.
Essential is 7 books. Those books can remain in the building. If you need it to do research, if you need it for reference, go ahead and come on in. I can't justify spending over $200 for 5 people.
Okay,
We can get by with just
One
the
set of
basic.
books, everybody doesn't
Yeah,
use.
one set of books, you're not gonna be using them a whole lot. If you need it, you can come in and you can look at it, but I don't feel comfortable forking out $229 for each person.
gotcha.
But good question.
Thank you.
Since it was my name that has the books.
And then I don't have a copy of the fire ones. Mine-
No, they're so cumbersome, there's so many
They're
that we
mine,
don't,
okay.
yeah, we don't copy them. They're in my office if you wanna look at them, but we don't generally copy them because there's so many copies.
Well, how many runs did Marine City do? How many did I know them?
Yeah, I didn't write it down.
Wait,
I should have wrote that pile out for you.
I got it. Yeah, they just, that's good. That's all they have for minutes. Confirm schedule for meeting dates for 2013.
I don't know that everybody got a copy of
I
that.
don't think we're going to, no, I go there.
Yeah, because we've
Are you
got
on
to,
table? Well, we have to do it.
we've got to
We
do it
gotta do
before the
that
first
next
of the
month.
year, so.
You know, we don't need it.
Mary Agnes? Yes, ma'am. Could you do me a big favor? Now, how are your deputies? Can you, run to my office and on that board, grab the proposed schedule? Yeah, and you need the C key to get into my office. Did we get the dates from the, who was it, we didn't have it from Parks and Rec, the Planning Commission, one of those, we didn't have the dates for. It's kind of hard to approve it when we don't have all the dates.
I didn't get a response for the November and December. Pat, what do you normally do for November and December for?
We normally skip November, but we vote on it to skip it. And we usually go on to first Wednesday in December. That's what we did this year. Usually, because what happened last year was it was like the day before Thanksgiving. This year, and so we just.
And then the following was Christmas for December, like
Right,
this
so we
year.
do it. So we kinda
And
do
what
it.
I did was I just moved the dates up a week for the week of Christmas and the week of Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, for November and December.
What did you
rather we
set
just?
a planning schedule?
Because we have to have it posted
Yeah.
by the end of the year.
I think, but I think we usually don't post in November.
Okay.
And we just post a first week in, first Wednesday in December.
Okay.
That's what I've seen posted, but if we, if we decide to have a November meeting, not have a December.
You
we
can always
vote on it.
change
We
it.
change it.
Right.
But we post it.
Okay.
We don't do it, yeah.
So
That's
then
what we've done the last 2 years, I believe.
So then I can just make a motion to change it
Yeah, we
to
can.
what works for you, and then we can do that.
Yeah.
That works for you. I hadn't circled.
Okay, so Planning Commission was the first Wednesday in December, and I'm sorry, what was it for November? Nothing?
They don't have one.
Okay, none for November. And, so what was on that list, Kelly, was that what all the other commissions and,
The planning commission, the parks and the rec, and the board.
yeah, we gotta change that. And we need to change the date.
Right.
It should be the 13th. Thank you. Mary Agnes.
You're welcome.
She loses it?
What do you do with second what? We're trying to figure out the date for the December date.
Right here.
Thank you. We'll just determine that later.
We want to go to change
Okay,
it.
so none in, no meeting in November.
There we go.
December, looks like to
2013.
Sorry. We'll do it.
Sorry.
Technology isn't that one. We can figure it out. We can edit the motion to figure it out.
The second Wednesday, right, Pat?
It was the first one.
December 4th. Okay, we're good. So that will be the planning, the changes will be no meeting in November and December 4th for the planning commission, and all the rest are accurate. Okay. Okay, so a motion has to be made to.
I move to approve and accept the consent agenda as presented with the corrections to the schedule for the meeting dates as noted for the planning commission. That's my
Wait a second.
You.
has been made to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, open session. If anyone wants to address the board at this time, you may do so. Okay, well, I guess nobody does, so we're gonna move on to unfinished business.
I think that was the quickest one I've ever seen.
Thank you. There isn't any unfinished business. So we're gonna move on to new business. The first item we have for new business is a presentation from Michael Stallman. And we didn't receive anything, and he wasn't able to make it tonight, so we'll have to, okay, so he's,
Information only.
no.
No, sure. Okay.
Presentation from Peter D'Angelo and Brad from MD&A.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Peter D'Angelo. I'm with Muller DePape and Associates, an accounting firm. And
hello, I'm Brad Muller. Thank you for having us here tonight. Appreciate it.
I have some cards if you'd like, and I thought the format that we might follow is I'll be happy to give you some ideas of what issues you might be facing. Is it okay to just put my...
Oh, absolutely. If you want to stand back there, that's fine.
Yeah. I think that I will address what issues you might be facing, and then Brad will address some of the particulars that may arise in connection with that. I know that you have a complicated task in front of you with regard to some of the financial and accounting issues, particularly the auditing issues and some other issues that you may face. And one of the principal issues that you want to overcome is your legacy, and that is that you might want to be assured that as you proceed, that you don't, that the mistakes of the past don't fall upon you, either that you neglected them or didn't deal with them properly. And so I feel of the most important issues that you have to face is to make sure that the slate that you are starting with is clean to begin with, and that you aren't haunted by, later on by an electorate that is asking you, in so many words, why this wasn't taken care of. In connection with that, there's a couple steps that we'd like to talk about. One is financial audits. The financial audits that are required for you may vary. You have been, it is my understanding, been having an annual audit. Brad Muller will address some issues with regard to that might amount to significant savings, and also might allow you to do some of the other things that you want to accomplish, that you need to accomplish with respect to your legacy, without any additional expense to you. And I think that's important, because audits aren't cheap, you know. So in that regard, the financial audit is of course required by state law. The frequency of that audit, however, is something that Brad will address. In addition to that, there is components to the audit that you may wish to use, and those components are a review of your internal controls and a review of your procedures. And this will generally bring to light the kind of things that you need to know with respect to how things have been handled in the past, particularly those that might haunt you later on, that you want to protect yourself from. They review the way different things are accomplished, particularly contracts and payments, and the approval of payments and checks, and the way cash is handled. We noticed in a review of your financial audited statements that there were issues in the past with the way cash was handled, and Brad will address that more particularly. He may wish to address that more particularly. Additionally, with respect to mistakes that are hard mistakes that are found, and those that have, I'm only offering these comments by way of options. We don't know of any mistakes at this time, or those that may have criminal liability or any of that. I'm only speaking in options. But there is a forensic audit as well available as an option. So here we have a regular audit, and that's the one that's required by the state. We have a review of your internal controls and operating procedures. And now we have the third option would be a forensic audit. And a forensic audit, literally all the transactions in question would be picked apart in every detail and would be verified independently. And the responsibility for them would be pursued until it was determined how it was that this particular event occurred. Having said that, we also see, so that would definitely be the strongest medicine. And between a financial audit and an internal control review, we see that there may be an opportunity to accomplish both of those without any additional cost, and that option is, of course, for you to make. Additionally, we see opportunities for you to have significant savings in the area of your general accounting and your payroll. Particularly because an outside firm has the generally accepted accounting principles at hand to accomplish the kind of accounting work that needs to be done so that your financial reporting is accurate from period to period, that is to say month to month or quarter to quarter. There's an additional benefit, and the additional benefit is that by way of providing you that accounting work according to generally accepted accounting principles, it does a significant, a good deal of significant adjustment in the cost of your audit. We have had conversations with Plant Moran, who have reviewed your financial statements because they're a matter of public record, and they have indicated that the kind of support that we could bring to the table for monthly or quarterly accounting, whichever is appropriate for this township, could bring 30 to 50% savings in your audit. And the reason is that they would have assurance that the financial statements that we prepare and the accounting work papers that we prepare, the routine papers, they sound like they're technical, they sound pretty technical to someone who's not accustomed to them, but depreciation lapse schedules for the contractual issues that you have, bank reconciliations of all the various accounts, agings of your accounts receivable and your accounts payable. They'll have to follow very specific formats to keep, you have used in the past Stewart, Beauvais, and Whipple out of Port Huron. We're familiar with that firm as well. And they all of those work papers have to follow some very specific guidelines. If those guidelines aren't met, then the auditing firm has no choice but to come back and either redo them themselves at additional expense, and I think that's what you're pretty much running into now. So a 30 to 50% savings can easily be realized if someone is able to prepare the work papers for the audit in accordance with those concepts that they've set forth for us. Additionally, of course, the payroll, I don't know if that's being prepared in-house or outside. To prepare outside and as part of an accounting service that we could offer you can also give you significant savings. The reason why I say that is a lot of times in an entity of this size, someone who is accomplishing that in-house may not actually have a full-time job. I don't want to make a bad example out of anybody, and I'm not trying to cast a shadow on the work that anybody's performing, because their best efforts are, I'm sure, appreciated. If, however, they don't have a full-time job, they may be spending their time getting ice cream cones and decorating Christmas trees at the rate of an accountant. And so by targeting just the specific tasks that have to be done in connection with general accounting, monthly accounting, and in connection with payroll, there can be some significant savings, not only in terms of the gross payroll, but also in terms of all the very expensive fringes that come along with it. We have in the past recognized savings for our clients in connection with that of 30 to 50%. And so those, I think, are significant numbers in any entity, whether it be large, medium, or small. And I think that's pretty much some of the options that we can offer you. We know, for instance, that the upcoming audit is going to be some additional expense. There's the Financial Accounting Standards Board, FASB's, have come up with, let me get the numbers right so that I'm not misquoting here. FASB 63 and 65 is coming into play for municipalities this year, and that is going to require some additional work. It particularly addressed monitoring the fire authority with some added disclosures. And I understand that you have a joint venture with the Marine City Fire Authority as well, and that's going to require some additional disclosures. Also, because you are a fiduciary fund for tax collection, that's going to require some additional disclosures. And this is going to serve to increase your audit this year, by no matter who does it, by an amount appropriate for the work that they do. I'm sure it's, and so that, I think, makes the savings that we have to offer in creating work papers that can save, by example, that Plant Moran gave us, we can save 30% on your audit by preparing, and we could probably save more than 30% based on what you're paying to Stewart, Beauvais, and Whipple on Port Huron. So I think that that there's some significant numbers there. I might open to any questions that anyone might have.
When you say you got a 30% savings, do you have any kind of an idea of what those costs are now?
You know,
is there any kind of a rate structure that you've got for any of the reports that you're going to do for the township?
We would need to take a closer look to see what work that you would have us do, and certainly put together a proposal along those lines. When I say 30 to 50%, we base that on what we've been able to do for other entities along those same lines.
But to find out if they want any of these reports done, do you just come in, do you give an estimate what it was going to cost, or is there a fee to have you come and take a look at it?
There's
to give us a price on it, or exactly how does it work?
There's absolutely no fee involved, of course. We would work with your either your present auditing firm, or as I say, we have worked with Plant Moran and other audit firms as well. And we know exactly what their requirements are with respect to work papers. We just need an indication from them which accounts they would like to have us prepare work papers for in detail, and we could go ahead and make a proposal for you. We would be happy to do that.
Okay.
I had went to the Michigan Treasury website last night, and I was looking at Appendix A, which was page 50 of 50, if you would happen to see that document. It looked like it brought up some good points. So I mean, based on what I've seen, it looks like that would be a good service to support the ideas you're bringing up.
And are you saying the option, which option do you think it would be good? That is to say, a review, a procedural review, an internal control review, or support for the auditor? Actually, I would probably defer to Brad, because he's got some points along those lines that might apply in particular to this situation.
Sure. Thanks again, board, for having us, and thank you for allowing us to speak. In reference to internal controls, we were able to look on the state website as well, and we noticed the last time that internal controls or policies had been referenced was in '08. And that was not to say they were audited, they were just mentioned by the auditor that took over at that point, the Whipple and Bouvet's. And they mentioned some concerns about how payments were being made and how cash was being handled. And they just mentioned it as a point of review. Anyone here can look up on the state website and see the 2008 audit report and see what their concerns were over internal controls. That's one of the things Peter and I really like to come in and do is a lot of these CPA firms, there's nothing bad against them, but their job is to give you a bare bones state audit to fiscally pass you for the state. And that means they look at your numbers. So if somebody wrote a check for $20,000, they'll go find a receipt for that check, find the invoice, and they'll match it to receipt, and match it to the bank statement, and that'll be that. One of the things we can come in and do is say, why was that payment made? Who requested it? What was the reasoning for it? Was there any other issues related to it? And that's more along the lines of internal, control audit issues. And that's one of the things Peter and I can do is we're free not to have to make you pass just the numbers. We can look behind the numbers and give some reasons for that. One of the things that struck me, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I noticed that it's a general law township as opposed to a charter township. And I believe your population is under 4,000. So there may not be a need, it's always suggested, but there may not be a need for the township to be audited every single year. Because of course there is cost behind that. The law requires if you're a charter township or if you have over 4,000 in general, that you're required to be audited every single year. It may be the case that the township may, may be beneficial to go every other year. Beneficial, but it may be something that's can be looked into a little further.
How long does all of this take if you were to come in and take a look at all of their records to come up with number one quote, and then number two, if you were to do that internal audit, how long does that procedure take?
I think realistically to come up with numbers and to take a good look at things, it could probably take a week or two. I don't think the whole process would take over a month to. It's not, an ongoing process. That's the good thing about bringing in a third-party contractor is, we don't go home at 5. We work until the job.
You come here and work with the offices, either the clerk or the treasurer, all day long, every day. I mean, is it something you do here, or is it something you just gain some of the information and?
We do a lot of it both ways. We have clients from here, to California. We do a lot of the things we do electronically, or being that we're so close, we're just in Mount Clemens, so we could come out here and sit down with you physically and look at things, whichever is more convenient for the township. I think that's it. Is there any other questions for Peter and I?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
We just got the new .NET program, and I'm assuming probably those FASB, whatever it is.
FASB and M65.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
probably in the program, which, they're doing it really easy. And then also, is it feasible? We really don't have that many employees for a payroll service.
Okay. Yeah, that's something, like we say, we need to give you a quote, and if it's not cost beneficial for you, then, it's just a simple quote.
It takes 15 minutes to run.
Yeah, I was
Sure.
gonna say
And I'm on salary, I'm getting paid to do the job, and to pay somebody else to do the payroll makes it pay
Understandable.
twice, so.
Sure. Just some municipalities we give that service for, so we offer it.
No, that's understandable.
Sure.
You didn't know that.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New business item number 3, the activation of the compensation commission.
Yeah, you guys,
We
yeah.
will excuse ourselves. Thank you again for
Thank
the
you.
opportunity.
That's why we put you up first, so you get
Thank you, talk about it. Bye. You're ready for the night.
I move for the reactivation of the compensation commission.
Hold on. don't have my machine here, I don't do manual shorthand, so I have to write down. All right, go ahead.
I gave you my sheet.
I'll second that. Now we can have discussion on it.
With the reactivation of the compensation commission, I'm not sure who is for what term.
We've got a list, there's actually 3 that are in place, and I mean, if you appoint 2 new people, they'll take the other terms.
Would
Right,
those be
so
the-
that, go ahead.
Would those be the 4 and 5 year? Would they be the 4 and 5 year? Because
I think I forgot to mention that to them when I
I just
asked.
have 1 more year, and I can't remember, I didn't bring all the paperwork with me, but there was like, Alan has, I think mine is up, and then the next one might be Alan, and the next one might be Peggy, and then the next year after that would be one of the
Whichever
new
one.
members, either Bev or Vi, and, and the other one would take the other term.
yeah, okay.
So that would be for you two to decide. I forgot to mention the terms too.
Oh, I know, because I've been outside before, and I used to do this too, so.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
They know more about it than we do.
Right.
And we'd like to begin on the 2nd of January. I think you have to include that in the motion.
Yeah. I made sure that we had that on there for you.
Since Alan's here tonight, Mr. Armstrong, is everything okay with him?
Alan, I believe so. I've talked to him and whatever. I don't know why he's not here tonight. He's not always here, but probably is. But I'll be calling him tomorrow to make sure he knows what dates. Peggy also, she's all set.
So you want your first date of
July
the meeting to be
January
January 2nd, then you have 45 days to
Correct.
finish everything. Okay, I'm going to amend Michael's motion to include the date of beginning on January 2nd of 2013. Can I have a second from that?
Oh, I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
If I could ask Brian a procedural question. For the reactivation, we don't need a roll call vote on that, do we? It's just a regular motion.
Just a motion to,
Thank you.
Okay, then, new business item number 4 is appoint the new members to the compensation commission. And we have asked Beverly and Vi if they would be willing to be on the compensation commission, which they agreed to. And do you just want to decide who gets the 4-year and who gets the 5-year term?
I get 4.
You get 4?
I originally got the 5 because I wasn't at the first
No,
meeting.
so you just.
And you didn't just
Then I make a motion that we accept the recommendation of Supervisor Fascelli to appoint Beverly Kopak for a 5-year term and Violet Pfaff for the 4-year term to the Compensation Commission.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's it?
I'll put it in.
You oppose? Motion carries. Okay, moving on. Item number 5, planning commission appointment. We have 1 vacancy on the planning commission. And I had a letter today from somebody who would like to participate, and that is Matt Kowalczyk, right here. And he's very experienced. Do you want to introduce yourself and
My name's Matt
give him a little bit of your background?
20-year resident of Cottrellville Township. I'm currently just retired 2 years ago from the city of St. Clair Shores, where I spent 25 years. My last 6 years as an administrator, I was fire chief there. Sat on multiple county boards representing the city of St. Clair Shores as the UASC member, emergency manager for the city of St. Clair Shores. I also was president of the Macomb County Fire Chiefs, 4 years on that board. So I've got a lot of experience with administrations there, and obviously as a fire chief, I was fully responsible for that budget. I had a 50-man department that I was responsible for, $7 million budget. that I was responsible for and presented all the purchases and so forth. So I've had some experiences, retired a little earlier than I wanted to, a forced retirement, and I'm a little bored with sitting at home, and I've not done a lot in St. Clair, and I to Kelly and a few others in this community and said I'd like to get back and try to offer something to this township, so maybe I can be an assistant. So I asked if I could offer my services and hopefully be a benefit to all of us here.
Thank you. You will be.
Appreciate it.
I will pretty lucky to have him.
I think so.
You've got a very impressive resume.
I make a motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Galvachek to the Planning Commission as recommended by Supervisor Zoran.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
On the board.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Okay, appointment of an alternate board member to the planning commission in case Ken cannot make it. And we are gonna appoint Lori Russellberg as the alternate.
Don't you have to ask me first?
No.
We better vote quick.
I thought I did.
You did, I'm kidding.
All in favor?
Oh, we need a motion.
Motion first. Are you having a motion?
I thought you just made it. You put it.
Okay, I make a motion to appoint Lori Russellberg, our alternate board member for the planning commission. All in favor?
Aye.
I need a
Opposed?
second to your motion.
Oh, second.
I'll second.
Oh, Sandy did.
All right, now
I don't.
you can take your vote.
Okay, all in favor?
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of purchasing nameplates and business cards for board members.
Hey, these look pretty good.
Look at receiving money already.
I think they're a fire hazard.
Oh, that's good.
We get back from you, see.
I think it's one of those
Things that.
frivolous things that we absolutely need, so.
They've had them in the past. I move we get them.
I second. Were you gonna say something?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I'm just writing down the
Should
motion.
we do vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval to update website and refer out for bids.
I moved for the approval to create a new Cottrellville Township website and refer out for bids.
I think the reason being is because it's hard for the staff members to update it. You have to call somebody and the person that there's really nobody that's knowledgeable as to how to update the website except for the front page. You can get into here and there, but you can't. It's just a disaster. And I think it'd be more feasible for the staff to be able to do it than to pay somebody to go in and out and in and out. And a couple more pages we'd like to add to it, such as a senior page.
So are you seconding Michael's motion?
Yeah, I'm seconding it. I thought maybe just learning my reason. She's like, no, I heard every
Well,
day.
so who's gonna do it then? I guess I'm
Well,
kinda
I have a
confused there.
question with regard to that before we go too far into this. Do we have a contract with whom we're with now? And, okay, we have no, absolutely no
No, we
contract.
pay somebody $400. Well, I was told that we pay him $400 a year, but he's not in contract. So right now when we call him and he tells us how to update it, it doesn't get updated. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't work what he tells you to do.
And,
It seems like we've had a history of bad internet people.
right,
Yeah.
so, and, the proposal basically is what I've been doing, is talking to other townships to see what they're doing and going with what suits us. We don't need something as big as Clay, you know, something that suits our needs. And
So are we
suits
looking
everything.
for a new person to create it?
We
Or are we
want
looking for
somebody to
bids
create it in the sense that they create it and then we're gonna be able to go in and we're just using them to create it and then we can go in to update it or add to it.
How long is the old guy still under contract?
He's not under
There's no
Well, how
contract.
long was he paid till? The end of the year, till the end of June?
He's,
Yeah.
according to him, he's done.
He said he was getting $400 a year, that's what he told me. I've not found anything.
Well, I
Did
can
he get the
check and
400
see
in
when the
June
last
and-
time.
I know, right, and refund.
I can check and see when he was last paid. And then,
Yeah, and find out if there is a time frame.
He's a nice man and everything, it's just he doesn't, like.
but, all right, yeah. I think
Right.
we need a better website, that's. So would you like to rephrase your motion?
Let's see, well, it really needs to be new, it can't just be updated.
Right. So are we looking for someone to create it, or are we looking for a company to create it? Are we looking for a high school student to come create
Right,
it
that's what
for
I'm saying, we
free,
need to
or
refer out bids, let them know the jobs
put it
available.
out for bid?
Yes,
Okay.
so that's what I was saying, I move for the approval to create a new Cottrellville Township website and refer out for bids.
You third it? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Comcast Business Class Service Order Agreement.
All right, this one I don't know, and I guess I probably should have called Brian and asked her if she knows anything about this. I received a phone call from this gentleman, if I can find it. And he sent me this, and it's kind of Greek to me, because it looks like he's already set up a contract and he's ready, set, go, all we need to do is sign it. I have no knowledge whatsoever of this. I don't even have a price on it.
Is this something we can set aside until you get that information
Yeah,
before we approve a
we
new
can
contract?
table it, because I tried to get a hold of him today to find out what exactly this was, and I didn't get an answer back. We're playing phone
Lori?
So, do you know what it is?
Nope, it was dropped on me by Tom. I kept putting the guy off.
Okay.
There is.
Oh, you were
I mean,
saving it for us?
Well, that's the MTA books, there's an article about Comcast, and I really think we have a little more rights, the way I interpreted it. But you look back in some of the old issues, and see if you can come up that article, because I think they've been dictating, and we can dictate.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to definitely table this.
Yeah.
All right. Since, then I make a motion to table this until we
Mention something, I don't know if it's related to this with Comcast, but I've recently found out in this township that Comcast has a contract in 2016, and that's why we don't get any competition with other like WOW and AT&T in this township. So while you're investigating that, can you check that out? Because I don't know that date for sure, but I
Okay.
was told possibly some member of the planning commission said, and that was recent news I found out.
And that was 2016?
16, I was told. So you might want to.
Where did you get that at, or where?
Bernie brought it up, and he said that somehow they contracted with the township, I don't know the whole agreement, and that's what you might want to investigate. But they contracted with the township that well, we wouldn't have any competition till 2016.
Is this a verbal, do you know, or is
I
it
don't
written,
know.
or
I
anybody have any idea?
talked to Bernie, he may know more.
We
get a benefit from Comcast.
Yeah, they pay us,
But I don't think the benefit outweighs the problem.
But
right.
is there a contract even for the
There
benefits?
is a contract.
We'll have to look it up.
That there is a contract that we get paid. What, how it works is the people here that have Comcast along the river and that, we get a percentage of what they pay. They send us a check once a year. How much is the check? It's in the thousands. Yeah,
4,000.
And what the deal with Channel 6 is, some townships take that money and give it back to the Channel 6, and that way they have access to Channel 6. From what I've told me in the past. Well, Channel 6 is the local access for township board meetings and different things. I'm just saying that that's what a lot of the townships, like Marine City does. And I don't know if they give it all or a part of it, but anyway, so just for your information.
Okay, well, that's something I definitely want to look into about that no competition thing. It seems like I heard that a long time ago, and
Yeah, you'd like to see
just
that going.
clicked the light on for me.
Okay,
Did I make
so
a
we-
motion to table this until we get more
I'll
information?
second that one.
Motion. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, approve BS&A software for online account viewing service.
What is this?
That's Sandy's.
This is for, you can add this to a website, to, anybody can go on and look for free, water, gas, and assessment.
Can they do the county website? Since we don't have one, I mean, a township website, since we don't have one? If everybody can go on and look for free.
No, this is the up-to-date one, the local, the current tax.
This would go into effect after we get a new website.
Right.
I'm just bringing that up.
Oh, okay.
It will be like on the treasurer's.
Now, we can do assessing for an extra, fee. If we wanted to do the whole package, it's $3,000 a year. Other cities and townships do this. It's really helpful, the title company, mortgage companies.
Alleviates a lot of phone calls.
Yeah, we're kind of limited by time, we don't, we're not open 9 to 5.
This would also lend itself to the transparency that we would like to have, where people can look at where we're at with what.
Well, it's also good, like, for, real estate, if people want to do a comparable search
Which
for
is,
homes in the area. they
which is
fill out more
90% of our
accessible-
calls.
Exactly, it's 90% of our calls are either title companies, mortgage companies, people looking for information on houses they want to make a looking to buy. And we're not here,
Right.
so, we're not, our phones are closed at noon, so this would give an alternative maybe to thinking about keeping our offices.
so what is
Instead
the,
of keeping the office, longer office hours, it would alleviate the need for that because people could pay their bills online and they have more information available to them. Correct?
Right.
Can you pay all these things online?
You can, you can
Animal
pick, you
licenses,
can pick and
cemetery
choose.
management, all that stuff?
Yep.
Is that the new program that you guys
well,
just
that's
got?
not,
Yeah.
this is the viewing online, this isn't the pay
This
online.
isn't the paying online.
This is the viewing.
Oh,
That's the next one, is
Yeah. Or the next, the paying one.
No, this is just really to think about, maybe when we update our website.
yeah, but it's just getting it out there so we can think about it and,
Yeah, and if we want to have it updated daily, it's a little bit more money than monthly. But if you pay your tax bill and then tomorrow,
I think it
It's
should be
not-
daily.
I think it should be daily.
Freak
Yeah.
out and think they
I think
could
this
get
would
it.
benefit everybody in the community as opposed to,
if you got DSL, according to what they're saying here.
oh, yay.
So we need the Comcast.
So we need to
This
use
is,
that.
this is a whole series of dominoes.
I can say like Green City has a computer and Green City has a computer in their lobby. So people can come in and access it. We can have read-only.
Can I access it off of my smartphone?
If you can go to our website, you can access.
No, I do everything with my smartphone because I have dial-up at home and I
Yeah, I give up on it.
can't even open a picture.
I know.
I can't even get it to open up on its own without kicking me off first because it takes too long.
Yeah, let's fill out a little.
So we'll table that.
Yeah, until we get our website up.
I'll second that.
I didn't make a
Oh,
motion.
okay. Thought that's what.
You can make it though.
Okay, I'll motion to table it until future meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
A.
Opposed? Motion carries. Create a fund to finance local road improvements, but this is Thomas Kammer, helped me with this, and what it is for emergency road work that the township needs as directed, instead of a road closing and him calling and saying, hey, I need approval to spend this much money. It's for $6,000, so it won't be for anything over $6,000, but instead of us having to have an emergency meeting and get together and say, okay, all in favor and approve it, and that, basically what this does is, he calls and says, we need to do this to get buses through our ambulances, and
But it's not always 6,000 every time you call.
No,
just
no,
for
it's the
whole year.
maximum amount can be 6,000, you know, it could be something that's, just, it can't go over, anything over $6,000, then we have to meet. But anything under that, in case there's some crazy snow or something like that, it's so that we don't have to call the board together and you can just do it.
Does he just give you a report when he's all done?
And, well, you'll get a
Any
report as
emergency
to what it
things
is, right.
that he had to do?
And beforehand, you know, but anything that's incurring afterwards, he'll let us know, but anything over, and he said that they've had this in the past.
Also, it's more or less for culverts washing out and roads, the heavy rain, not so much the snow they take care of, but they don't have to close the road and have a problem with the fire department or school buses or that stuff. When it takes out a guardrail,
Right.
it's laying out in the road, they can go fix it, but
With us, getting together and hand meeting. And it's only good for, the calendar year, so then each year we have to.
So are we asking for a motion to pass this, or is this
Yes.
information only?
No, we're asking for a motion to pass.
Well, make a motion for that they have an emergency fund in case the road's washed out or whatever.
So we're
That way they
asking
can do it.
motion to approve the emergency fund?
Yes. That way, Tom, they can do it if there's something that happens at night.
middle of the night, middle of the weekend, and he'll present the bill, and he can still refute the bill, but he has permission to go ahead and do it, and he'll give him shit later. Pretty much what he told us. He didn't raise all the money. Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. But I think we're gonna have to table the online payments until we get a website going. Is
Well,
that
I
what-
was
or is
gonna-
it, what is
I'd like
it,
to get it, if we did it,
bids?
well, because not only is it online payments, I can also take credit card payments to the office. It's free to us, it doesn't cost us a penny. And you can see the process is about 5 to 6 weeks before we get kind of rolling.
And can they do that even now while we're in the process of getting bids for the website?
It doesn't matter, yeah, it doesn't
Oh, that's
matter.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
it doesn't matter if we have a website. I mean, like I said, if you look at the timeline on getting this going in
right,
our office,
right,
it can
that's
go up
on
to
the
5 to 7
website.
weeks before we can go live.
Right,
And this is
Before that,
governed
I
by,
can just get credit card. It gives us to take payments in the office and credit cards.
and this
Do
is
they
for
charge a fee?
BSNA? I'm sorry.
Do they charge a fee for?
Not to the township, only to the
Well-
person that's using the service.
So if I call in and say pay this tax or something,
Yeah, you have different options.
there's a fee?
There's different options.
and basically it's so that the person using it for the service instead
You'd
of
be
the
surprised
township.
at how many people actually pay this in, how many people overnight tax bill and pay time, you know.
And this is taken care of by BSNA, so we have the security that BSNA offers.
They recommended this company.
Oh,
They recommended this is, you know,
All right.
it's good, compatible with their program.
oh, okay.
You know, like I said, it didn't cost us anything. Point maybe some money.
Yeah, that's a nice price tag.
It is. I mean, and it's just a convenience, and it's up to the resident if they want to make that.
Right, we're
payment.
not forcing them.
We're not forcing them.
Right.
you know.
3% I see here.
The thing, I actually called them today, I talked to a woman named Julie, and, you know, I just wanted to confirm, 3% sounds like, it's not very much, but if you have a $500 tax to pay, that's literally being forced to pay $15,
You're not being forced, it's your option if you want to pay it.
It's convenience of having to drive over here and drop off a check.
A lot of people out of state have property here.
It's a
you know.
convenience fee.
I mean, you could literally do better with that PayPal service, though. I mean, I was
But
talking,
PayPal isn't compatible
It's not
with our
compatible with
BSNA.
our BSNA program.
And we have the security of BSNA,
yeah,
but we don't have a PayPal.
I think it might not be a bad idea to, do some research over the next month to see what other townships might be using. Because I was speaking with a friend of mine before the meeting, and, if you're going to be charged that much, pay your bills online like you do Comcast and DTE Energy, there's really no point in doing it. You just, you know, wait till you're in the neighborhood and stop by the township and you pay it. That's the way
That's your choice.
But that's, you know, a lot of people might choose, would rather pay it than, you know, we're not, like, we're still offering them to bring a check in or pay cash.
And
And then if they have to use a credit card, it's just a
Just
convenience,
another option.
should they want to, instead of coming by and dropping off a check.
Right, and I understand there's the e-check thing. Sandra had mentioned that.
And I know Marine City, they,
Can we
they,
quiet down in the audience, please, because I have to make a record of this, and I can't do it if people are talking loudly back there. I don't mind whispering, but when it starts rising, I can't hear.
I know Marine City, I think they absorb, I don't know if we can do it further, but they absorb, if you want to do like a check, online check through this company, it's 75 cents, I think. And they just offer that to their residents for free, but I don't know if we really want to do that or not. I mean,
I just think
I mean,
What
it's.
we're
think
looking at
it's-
is the least cost to the township.
Right,
I mean, if you personally want to take that option of paying online, then
then you pay the fee.
you pay the fee. Instead of us paying the fee for you, because then that takes away from the rest of the township if we're paying your fee.
Right, and I wouldn't mind paying, you know, like a 75 cents one, like she's talking about, but the, like this year it says e-checks of $3. Even that wouldn't be that bad.
Well,
But-
well, I mean, if you had a $10,000 or an $8,000 tax bill, it would cost you $3 for an e-check.
Yeah, I guess my concern though is the one, you know.
I think that it's a matter of
It's just
the
everybody's
individual,
choice.
and if they choose to use it, they choose to use it, and if not, you come in here like you normally do and drop it off.
I mean, yesterday, the other day, I had 4 people ask if you pay credit cards, and at least it'd be an option.
Does somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we can approve the program that they've got
The
there for
program?
the BSNA, or for them, to approve the online payments.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Hey, we're on the list.
All right. The last item, maybe, is to appoint Courtney Bevercamp as chairperson for Parks and Rec.
What did you say?
Clear my throat on that one. She lives in the community. She is a dental hygienist. She has time to get involved in the community, and it's nice to see fresh faces. And no, she's actually had an appointment. She was going to try to be here, but she did make it to Monday's meeting, and hopefully we can recruit some more. Our Parks and Rec is like null right now, so if we can recruit some people, that would be wonderful. I did put that out in the newsletter. I think we have just about everything filled up now, so we're still looking for people that want to participate. So,
Oh, I'm all for fresh faces and new blood, so I make the motion to make Courtney Bevercamp the chairperson for Parks and Recreation Committee.
all in favor?
I'll second it.
I'll second it, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Supervisor's report, can we do that?
Yep.
Which is, the papers of the transfer of the Reuben Smith Cemetery were signed on December 4th, 2012. And Pat Runyon said that she will take care of all the problems. No, I'm kidding. So just direct the calls to her.
You didn't know you volunteered for that, did you, Val?
That is great. I'm excited about that. I'm curious, when I was reading, when the lady came in, I did not know that there was people that had been buried there for so long. It's just, there are people that were born in 87, that are buried in that cemetery. That's crazy. It's very informative, so I'm looking forward to getting into some history about that and some people. I think that'll be a new little learning piece for us. Also, I'd like to talk about our fire authority board. Mr. White Knight decided that he would stay on as our
Homeland Security?
No,
Basically, person at
resident
large.
large, resident,
Person at
person
large.
at large.
Now, we did have Tom Raymond on there, and he was the elected official. So you people have to select one of your elected officials to go on there. And if you'd like to have me stay, I would be more than willing to do so.
What is it you do?
I'm on the board for the Marine City Fire Authority representing the township.
Oh, that's what the fire at.
Right, there's 2 people from Cottrellville, 2 from East China, 2 from China, and 3 from Marine City.
Is that Homeland Security thing
No.
also?
No.
That's different.
That's-
This one, you can explain, Mr. White Knight has been on it since the beginning.
Yes.
And you're right.
And he's gonna
Since
stay.
the beginning of the fire, that's what I said.
We hope.
And basically, what you do, they just look over the bills and the expenses and the accounting. Not that they tell them what to do, we just make sure that everything is,
Kind of a checks and balances kind of thing.
Right. Since all the communities are now ownership of that, we got a board that oversees them.
Was that something that Tom did because it should be the supervisor, or is it?
It can be any elected official.
and
What
I said
types
that
of
I
things
wouldn't
does it-
mind doing it being that it's a big part of the budget. There's a lot of, questions that people in the community have mentioned about it and that, and I just think that it'd be, better for me because I'd be more knowledgeable.
So you're
than-
volunteering?
Yes, I'm volunteering. Oh, yeah, that's all. I should have said that.
I was wondering there for a minute, yeah.
Since it's a voluntary basis,
Then I would
we
be the
give you
board.
our blessing.
Thank you. And I would be
What
the
about the
board.
Homeland Security thing?
That's not.
Oh,
Okay.
So, do we have to make a motion or anything, or are we just letting you guys know? That's what.
That's an information thing, so
that's just,
no one
And
jumped up
then-
to volunteer.
Mike had resigned as our Homeland Security liaison, and had been doing it for 7 years, and, he helped me he suggests some people for it, and then I talked to the Marine City Fire Chief, and he suggested some people also. Out in the community, I had some people asking about it, and Joe, how do we say his last name, Roshan, he is a retired fire chief, and he knows Mike Freeland, who's our CEO of the Homeland Security. He said that he would be willing to do it, and actually, the Marine City Fire Chief recommended another gentleman, and lo and behold, him and Joe are friends, and he agreed to partner up with Joe anyway, so that worked out really well, because the other gentleman is retired police, so now for our Homeland Liaison guy, I have a retired firefighter and a retired police officer that know about disaster things and whatnot, so we really need to talk to him. And it's a whole another big entity that we're gonna work on. I haven't gone to a meeting about that, but basically it's if there's a disaster, they set up the places to go and the food and the resources, and there's a lot that it entails, so I'm very grateful that they did it and took the walkie-talkie with them.
did you have that down there, Matt, too?
Yes, he did. In fact, I know Jim Freeland. I had helped Vicki Wolver as the emergency manager in Macomb County, and there's it's UASI, the Urban Alliance Security Initiative, which is the 5 counties, including St. Clair and Detroit. That's this area, how they break it down. And they meet monthly and discuss disbursements of funds and what we would do. You might remember they called him the underwear bomber that went over a couple years ago in St. Clair Shores. They came to us and said, what did you have? And the news people made a big deal out of it. So all of us in the southeastern Michigan area work together as coming up with a plan to, what would you do in the case of a disaster like that? So yeah, we've dealt and I'll work with it. I think one of the biggest fortunate things that I thought we had in Macomb County, and I'm sure we use them here, is Selfridge. Tanker fire on the expressway, terrorist attack, any kind of thing like that. The Selfridge contributed so much equipment that Marine City didn't have, St. Louis didn't have. We down in Macomb County have one of the best mutual aid packs. It was established back in the 60s. It was phenomenal that with a phone call, I have 5 different departments with 5 men on the engines coming almost immediately, just with a phone call.
Is that with that little card that you get? They have a card, they said it's just
Well,
When they handed me stuff, I was like, oh.
in here,
Here, what's this?
the minimal knowledge that I have how we do things here is pretty much with this authority that became the first step here with doing the same. So it's very positive, I believe, for this township and this area that they're doing. Obviously, we're a little smaller than down at home county departments, but the same principle, yes.
Maybe you should be on the board as well.
One or two jobs.
I actually asked Jim if he needed help when I retired, but with cuts to every department, he said, I'm actually losing some people that are paid, but yeah, I sure was interested in it. I did a lot of it, and I enjoyed it.
Well, and I just think we're lucky to have those two gentlemen, and then, because then I have them all on speed dial in case something happens, just to have their knowledge in that. It's a great blessing to have that fall in my lap, so I'm very appreciative.
That Homeland Security and the Fire Authority has to be an official appointment by the board, and you all have to approve it.
Which one, what she
Fire
was?
Authority, yes.
Okay,
And the other one, yeah, you guys have to vote on that.
okay. So that's a recommendation of the supervisor and the board approves?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And it's not on the agenda today, so we're gonna have to wait until the next one.
that's okay.
Oh.
And you have to do the oath of office for both of them.
The oath
okay.
of office.
Yes.
I do know how to do that.
Second for Matt, we can do that today, because he's on the agenda.
I need to make the, I have to make up the
Put that
paperwork.
on the agenda.
No, I have to draw up the paperwork. Because he's gotta sign it,
Okay.
and I have to sign it.
The reason behind that is if they decide not to go to the meetings, you can't do anything about it because they didn't take the oath and it's not approved by the
Yeah.
board.
Public comment? The last item, second to the last item?
Oh, I thought you were still talking. So what do we do then now? Because we didn't put that on there. He can still participate, can he? We can still all
We can
participate
add it to
until
the
it's.
agenda.
Me?
Tonight, right now?
Oh, I'm
Okay.
in until removed,
Okay,
basically.
that's what I.
But it's reelection, and basically the terms run on 4-year terms based on elections. So that if during election, if someone is voted out, and you have to put someone else in, then there would be, like
Right,
myself,
somebody's still there.
still there, so that we're not redoing the entire board at once.
All right, I make a motion to amend the agenda to include the appointment of, and forgive me, I need their names again. The two that we need to appoint. We can just do it right now.
Oh, Joe Roshan. I think it's Rouchon. It's Homeland Security Liaison.
As Homeland Security Liaison, and the other one?
And then Mike Whitney.
And Mike White.
I mean, Tom, I'm sorry, and myself.
Tom White Knight. And Kelly Pacelli. For the Fire Authority.
Mhm.
I need a second. Okay, seconded by Ken. We need a vote.
Oh, sorry, I was reading.
Do you guys, did you hear the motion? Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Actually, that was just an amended motion, or amended agenda, now we have to vote on the motion. Okay, we got, that was to amend the agenda, so now we need to make the motion. So now I make the motion to include the appointments, or to appoint Joe Roshan as the Homeland Security Liaison and Tom, I can't even read my writing.
White Knight.
White Knight, thank you, and Kelly Pacelli to the Fire Authority. I need a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, now the motion carries.
Yes, now we have the motion.
You're in.
All right.
Okay, so moving on to public comments on any agenda item. Anybody?
That Runyon, 7476 Runyon. As far as for the Historical Society, we discussed a possibility if you ever have a spare computer, we were looking into a dedicated computer just for the Historical Society. We'd like to purchase a family tree maker so that we could start putting it on a computer and organize everything we have on paper. So when you run across that extra computer, we'd like to have it just dedicated for the Historical Society.
Okay.
So that was something I was supposed to mention to you. And Reuben Cemetery. We're working on the ordinance on the Planning Commission. And there are several things I'll be probably talking to you about, but this is for you guys all to think about. In previous conversations about this with the board, they said they did not want to be in the business of buying and selling cemetery plots. They want to honor what plots are there for family members, for future burials. In our ordinance, it talks about the possibility of buying and selling plots within the township. And so you might want to look at that, if we want to just keep that verbiage in the ordinance, or do we want to leave that completely out? So that way our options are open. So that's something, and I'll forward you more information on it. And Ken will too. So, okay, just for your information.
And then did you ever, for the Historical Society, did you ever decide on what you're gonna do with?
The verbiage for the honoring that, for everybody that doesn't know what happened, is we got a phone call from a fellow in Illinois, and his father is a Cottrell. His name is John something Cottrell, and he's turning 60 years old in January. And his son Brian wants to honor his father with history from Cottrellville Township, the Cottrells, but also he wanted to honor him in some way. And he made a suggestion of honoring him as John Cottrell Day or something to that effect. I have some verbiage written down. We thought more like Cottrellville Township honors John Cottrell as a member of the founders of the Cottrell, the Cottrell family, or the founders of the Cottrellville Township, something like that.
Instead of giving them a
Yeah,
own day.
and maybe just, or either as a certificate or put it on just township paper with a letterhead. So I can forward that to you.
Is his dad still a resident here?
Pardon?
Is his dad still a resident here?
He isn't a resident, but apparently his great-grandfather was. And his I think this fellow's dad, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather was one of the original 10 children of George Cottrell. So he had the story about one of the Cottrell sons being adopted that was not a Cottrell, but had lived with Indians for a while, and then he was adopted. Well, the story had been confused, and actually Don Kittle has the real story, because he has lots of connections. And anyway, so we're sending him information about all that. It's on the board.
It's pretty interesting reading.
But it's interesting. So, anyway.
Okay,
just,
so we'll work on it.
okay.
I went to school with him. He's a really good guy.
Who?
John Cottrell.
Not in Illinois?
No, if it's the same
This
John
man-
Cottrell.
This man is turning 60 in
Oh,
January.
yeah. Oh, okay, because he had a...
And he lives in Illinois, and I don't think he's ever lived in Michigan. This is, I'm sure there's multiple John Cottrells.
Jonathan, is it Jonathan?
Yes. Yep, class of 96.
Is there any other public comments on any agenda items? Motions for adjournment?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 8:48.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, that was good.